and I'm so excited. As you guys know, as I mentioned in the Facebook group, Joel is gone, and so I was kind of like holding my breath about the technology, but I can see we've got a bunch of people hopping on. So so Lucy says hello from Texas, so I must be doing something right. So just a couple of things while we are waiting for people to hop on. So first, Joel is off camping today. He is at a father-son camp out with his two youngest, and he abandoned me. So I am excited to thank my son, John, who has been working with us for a while behind the scenes. And so today is his first time helping me with the live stream. So anyway, and he helped me get the equipment set up. My video editor said that that my light was a little dark, and so we've turned it up a little bit. So hopefully we've got that going. And then several of you are commenting on my John says presents announced. So several of you have commented on my hair. So this is actually hair number 4, which I wore last week. And I said last week that I was going to cycle back through to hair number 1 so we could see and just cycle through them. But reason I'm wearing hair number 4 again is because after this live stream, I have to record some new ads. And I have not recorded any ads with this hair. So that's why I'm doubling up from last week. But people seem to like this one a lot. So I don't know. This might be eventually like the forever one. I don't know. But anyway, so that's where we are with that. And we are going to go ahead and get started because we've got a lot to discuss today. And if you read the newsletter, so many exciting things happening. And if you did not get the newsletter goes out at 7 a.m. your time every Friday. So if for some reason you are not getting the newsletter, so the newsletter goes out every Friday. I also send an agenda email, which also usually goes out on Friday, but there are 2 different audiences. That one just goes to the locker room. The newsletter goes to everybody. So if for some reason you're not getting our emails, send us an email, support@fastandeasyqbo.com, and we will take a look at what is happening with your account. Because sometimes if you unsubscribe, you might accidentally unsubscribe to everything when you meant to just unsubscribe to marketing messages, or so that could be a thing, or your email's bouncing, or who knows what's happening. But if you're not getting the emails, support@fastandeasyqbo.com. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, we've got a lot to cover today. All right, so hello. My name is Margie Remmers-Davis, and I am excited to welcome you to our live stream that we hold every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern inside our Facebook group called the QBO Gym Locker Room, which if you are watching this live, you're already in the locker room. So yay, woohoo, I'm so glad to have you. That is the only way that you can interact with us live, is if you're in the locker room. If you're watching the recording on YouTube, of course, there will be a link down below. Okay? All right, so let me tell you about the QBO Gym Locker Room. This is your spot for hands-on practice using QuickBooks Online. That is what we do here in this group all day, every day. Hands-on practice, hands-on practice, hands-on practice. That's all we do. That's what we are about. So inside the Facebook group, you automatically get a free Getting Started course. The free Getting Started course teaches you how to get your free QuickBooks Online accountant account, how to and what an accountant account is, navigation, like how to move around, some terminology, and how to access the sample company, which is where we do most of our exercises are in the sample company. And then of course you also have hands-on exercises to reinforce, some of the things that you learn just to get your feet wet. All right. Also, as a member of the QBO Gym Locker Room, you also have access to over 100 free exercises to help you get hands-on practice in QuickBooks Online. Did I say hands-on practice? It's hands-on practice, guys. Like, that's what we do. So the people are always asking me where to find the exercises. So let me just show you that real quick. Inside the group. Now, mine looks a little bit different because I'm an admin, but you will find there's a featured section. You should also see the featured section right here. If you're on your mobile app, then you might have to click the little hamburger to access it. If you have the mobile app, you might have to hit the little hamburger to see the featured, but you'll find this featured post, which is welcome to the locker room. This was also emailed to you when you first joined. All right, so inside here is inside the welcome post, it was also emailed to you, is the link to access the free hands-on exercises. Okay. All right. Also, as a member of the locker room, you get to a free exercise of the week, and you get to participate in the weekly live stream, which is what this is all about right now. We're going to go over the free exercise of the week. So the exercise of the week is part of our paid subscription. You get it free because you're here, but it is part of our paid subscription, which is oh gosh, cancel that, which is part of our subscription package called the QBO Gym. Okay, so the QBO Gym is it's a series of simulated exercises and experiences where you get to actually be a bookkeeper. You have a whole year where you can be a bookkeeper for a fictitious business owner. Okay, and John, go ahead and post the gym link. So if you'd like to learn more about the gym, John just posted the link in the chat. But anyway, this is like for all of you who say you want to get actual experience being a bookkeeper, this is what this is. This is like having your first client, and all throughout the year, things happen to the client that you have to record in the books. And so you actually get to practice doing that. All of the work that you do in the QBO Gym is reflected in your BooksMatch account. Oops, let me just open this up. Okay, so this is what your BooksMatch account looks like. So everybody who has any product of ours at all, any course, gets a BooksMatch dashboard. But this part right here, you'll only see if you are an active member of the QBO Gym. We are tracking every single thing that you are learning in these different skills and skill groups. Okay, so for example, I happen to pull up Christopher here. I can drill down and see, Christopher has 13 skills verified in troubleshooting, 3 bank feed errors, 1 reconciliation discrepancy, etc. Okay. In BooksMatch, you also can see how you compare to everyone else in the pool. That's down here. And then we use this information to track 3 important metrics, okay? The first is knowledge. Knowledge reflects the breadth of experience that you have using QuickBooks Online, okay? So this is wide. Then we also track your consistency. This is how frequently you are upskilling. I failed to mention in my old BooksMatch spiel that the whole reason we're doing this is so that we can show you off to people who are looking for bookkeepers. Is we are actually we are positioning you to receive leads and get clients. And this was the exciting announcement in the newsletter, is that we're now doing that. Like, we are now sending out your information to thousands of people. There's right now, so we've talked about, I'm going to take off my screen share so I can look at you and tell you, okay, these 3 important things. Number 1 is, so there's 3 buckets, okay? There's 3 buckets of leads that we are focusing on to drive them to you. And by the way, there's no charge. The only charge is for you to be actually in the gym, okay? That's the only charge. This comes with the gym. Okay, so we're focused on 3 buckets, and 2 out of the 3 are now running. Okay, so first of all is anybody that has a bookkeeping or accounting type position posted in on Indeed or Monster. Okay, so we're actually going in, looking at all of those, sending all of the people who have those positions posted, and say, hey, fill your position from our pool of our pool of bookkeepers in Booksmatch. Okay, so that's one thing we're doing. That's bucket number 1, people who have a post that they are actually looking for people. Okay, the second group of people are accounting firms. Now, I hear so much that, oh, it's so hard to find a client. We're going to talk about finding clients at the end today. But I hear someone, oh, it's so hard to find a client. Oh, there's no bookkeeping work, blah, blah, blah. Okay, no. What's actually happening in the industry is that there are not enough bookkeepers for all of the work that's available. That's why there's all these AI tools that are developing. That's why they're sending them off, outsourcing, sending them offshore to get people outside the country to do it, because there are not enough people. So all these accounting and bookkeeping firms that are, successful in getting started, they have more work than they have people to do the work. Okay, so the term capacity, I just got back from Scaling New Heights, which is like one of the largest accounting conferences in the country, and everyone is talking about capacity. People have to turn away clients because they don't have the staff to be able to serve those clients. Okay, so we now at Fast and Easy QBO actually have now a full-time person who is reaching out to accounting firms and saying, hey, to help your accounting, to fill your pipeline, to get, to be able to service your clients, you can hire bookkeepers. And here's the thing about hiring bookkeepers, is that everyone wants to hire bookkeepers, but it takes them so long to sit down and actually train them to do the work. They want to hire people who are already trained. And so by having you in Booksmatch, we're showing them, look, here's all the people that are already trained how to do it, and they haven't just passed a test. They're not just sending you a resume. We're actually demonstrating that they are actually going in and doing the thing hands-on in QuickBooks Online. Okay, so that's the second bucket. The third bucket is, it will be a while before we can put this in place, but the third bucket is business owners who are looking for a bookkeeper. That one is going to, if it happens this year at all, it's not going to happen till the end of the year, but I can see that piece might actually not happen till next year. But in the meantime, we've got these 2 buckets that we are now sending them to you. Okay, so let me go back and share my desktop again. Okay, so I mentioned that you are doing the skill. We're tracking your skills. Every exercise that you do earns you skill points in one of these areas. You can compare yourself to how everybody else is doing. We're tracking 3 important metrics. The first is knowledge. Okay, so knowledge, that's the breadth of your experience. Then we're tracking your consistency. And the reason that we put this in is because when we were initially developing this, we were working with a recruiter. We're working with a recruiter who said that one of her biggest frustrations was reaching out to people who were no longer actually looking for work, that they actually weren't, that they were actually, at capacity or like found a position or whatever. She said, I waste so much time reaching out to these people. Like if I knew that your people were actually active, she actually wanted every week for something for you, for just like people to check in. Yes, I'm still looking. Yes, I'm still looking. Okay. We thought every week was a bit of overkill. So now we just, in order for you to maintain a high consistency, you have to upskill within every 14 days. Okay. I'll come back to this in just a minute. The third metric is speed. Okay. So speed is not how quickly you can do the exercise, but it's how many exercises you can do or how many skills you can verify within a week. Okay. The reason that we have this speed metric is because we want to reward the people who may be new. So if you're brand new, you're going to have a low knowledge score, okay? Because you just haven't been around long enough, right? But we want to reward you if you're kicking butt and you've done a lot, okay? So you're going to have a high rank in speed, even if you have a low knowledge. If you're actively working, okay? We take these 3 metrics and then we give you a rank, okay? And so the rank is what the recruiters and the businesses are gonna see when they look at you. Now, somebody asked, Amanda said, what are the 3 buckets? So let me go back. I don't want to confuse the 3 buckets and the 3 metrics. Okay, so the 3 buckets are, let me take off my screen here again. The 3 buckets of leads are, number 1, people who have posted jobs on Indeed and Monster. Okay, so these are people who are actively looking for bookkeepers and other accounting professionals. We are, and there are tens of thousands of them, and we are emailing them and saying, hey, I see that you have a listing for a bookkeeper. Why don't you come get your bookkeeper from our pool of bookkeepers, okay? So that's bucket number 1. Thank you, Maria. Bucket number 2 are accounting firms who are looking for additional staff or people just to send work to during the busy season, so these are accounting firms who are at capacity and need to fill more seats, okay? So the bucket number 1, we're emailing them and saying, hey, I see I see that you have this post, then, look for our bookkeepers. Email the bucket number 2, the accounting firms. We actually have a full-time person who is reaching out to accounting firms individually and saying, hey, we can solve your capacity problem, okay? So that's bucket number 2. Bucket number 3, which is coming much later. It's a big project, is reaching out to small business owners directly and if they want to hire a bookkeeper, they can look in our pool. Okay, so those are the 3 buckets of leads that we're sending. The 3 metrics, let me go back to this, is how we are tracking you and what you do in the QBO gym. So we have these 3 metrics. They give you a rank, and then what people are what people are seeing is they are in this thing called a talent finder, and you can see how your ranking shows up. Okay, now this is one of the things that I wanted to touch on it briefly today. For those of you who are new, I don't usually go into this much detail. But the reason I'm going into this much detail today is because we just kicked off our lead gen program, okay? But if you are in the gym, we want to make sure a couple of things. Number one, you have a little switch. You have a little switch above your name that says open to work, okay? If you are open to work, if you want leads, if you want us to show people your profile, make sure that you turn that on, okay? We have only 25% of you have that on. Only 25%. I don't know what's happening. Maybe 75% of you are at capacity, and so you don't want leads, or you don't feel ready, or like whatever it is. But make sure if you want leads, we have some people that are ranked as exceptional talent that don't have that turned on. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to mention is this right here. So in your profile, you identify what type of work you're looking for, okay? So make sure that your profile, that you're honest about this, okay? Full-time and part-time mean that you are open to a W-2 employee arrangement. Now, I know that's not all of you. Some of you would love to have a job, okay? The benefit of having a job is you don't have to do the marketing. Like, that's really all it comes down to. It's like, do you want to be responsible for your own marketing? Have a business. Be a freelancer. If you want somebody else to take care of the marketing and the relationship with the client and all of that stuff, then get a job, okay? We're all in different parts of the spectrum, okay? But make sure that you're honest. So part-time, full-time means you're a W-2, you're open to being a W-2 employee, okay? If you are not open to being a W-2 employee, if you only want to do contract work, be a freelancer, then you select contract, okay? If you are open to whatever, that's when you mark flexible, okay? The other thing that I wanted to point out is your QBO certifications. So if you are, right now, we are only accepting QBO certifications. This will change. I would say by this time next year, you'll see at least one other certification that's available, maybe two, for you to put in there. But for right now, we only accept QBO certifications, so basic, advanced, and payroll. And you can see now they are not involved in your rank. Your rank is strictly based on your activity in the QBO gym, okay? But you can see how they see it. So when they go to the talent finder, they see, and so this person, don't want to call you out, Linda, but if you have your advanced or payroll certs, make sure that you put those, up there, okay? All right, the other thing is your picture. So Charlotte right here is still using this, oh, you can't see me. How can I? There we go. Charlotte here is still using, weirdo Craig guy. Okay, so make sure that you upload a picture that is happy, friendly, welcoming, professional. Okay, people want to work with people. Okay, so make sure that you update that. Let's see, what else was I going to say? I think that's it. So let me ask about contacting you. So Tracy says, I don't see anywhere to put my contact information. So on your profile, there is a chat. So they have a little chat right here. And so that chat will come through. It'll come through Booksmatch. Now we're not one of those people who like, we're not in control of your contract or your regular, like, you're not working for us. You're not, like, all we're doing is making the introduction. So after you've made the introduction, if you want to take it offline, if you have conversations or whatever, then like, that's fine. So we're not like what's the one, Upwork, where like you have to only work through them through the you have to only work through them for like 3 years or something like that. And that's because they take a cut. And so they're like, we don't want you to contact each other outside of the forum because, and Fiverr I think is the same way, because they're taking a cut. We are not taking a cut. We're just making the introduction, okay? But we do want we do want them to initiate a chat just because we want to be able to track that, okay? So we want to be able to track how many reach outs, like how many people have initiated chat. So I'm going to start putting in the newsletter, like how many new recruiters we have and how many chats were initiated and all of that stuff. Okay. All right. There was another question. So that was chat. Is this for in-house? Okay. So Jerry asked, is this for in-house and or virtual? So that's why I was saying, let me go back to the screen. Okay, that's where you want to put in your profile. You want to put the employment type that you are open to. Okay, so if you're open to actual work, it's all actual work. If you're open to being an employee, then you want to mark part-time or full-time. If you only want to do contract work, then then that's why you want to put contract. Okay, if you're open to either, then that's why you have flexible. And the in-house or virtual, that's why we have your location, is so that if they are looking for somebody who wants to come in-house, then they're gonna search by their location. Okay. All right. So let's see. Any other questions about that? Okay. Looks like John had to refresh too. I was wondering what that was, Tracy. I'm not sure what you're talking about. So anyway, but I'm glad that question was answered. Okay. So back to what we're doing today. Okay. So again, the reason we have an exercise of the week is so that you have an opportunity. Oh, thank you. Yes. So John reminded me that there was a question somewhere that's about uploading your info into your profile. So like a resume. So you do have my head is in the way and oh, there we go. Okay. So you can add a bio right here. Okay, so I'm looking at this from the recruiter side, so it's not going to be exactly the same, but when you're looking at your Booksmatch profile, you have this about accountant thing, okay, and where you can put in. So Christopher here has a ton of stuff like it's like a resume, okay. So one of the things that I had a recruiter mention to me I think it was yesterday, and I think I forgot to put it in the newsletter. Maybe I'd already written the newsletter, but anyway, so just yesterday I had a recruiter reach out to me and say, do the bookkeepers know that firms might be looking at them? And I said, absolutely, you're bucket number 2. Like they should absolutely know that. And he said, well, many of the bios that I'm reading are written to business owners. And so I was like, oh, I need to mention that. I'll have to make a note to mention that in the next newsletter, is that you need to write your bio so that it encompasses like all 3 buckets, or like it's just about you. Okay, so, and not directed to I can help you save money in your business, like whatever. Okay, so it has to be about you. Okay. All right, are we done with this topic? Can we get into actual, I started off by saying how we're all about hands-on exercises, and we're half an hour in, I haven't done the hands-on exercise. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so the exercise of the week, that's what we're doing today. The reason we have the exercise of the week is to keep your consistency high in your Books Match profile. But it has the added benefit of anyone who comes on the live stream who's part of the locker room can get this for free. You don't have to have a membership to the gym. If you do have a membership to the gym, remember that this is a separate course and it's only unlocked when you have earned 250 points in the gym. Okay. The reason that we don't unlock it right from the beginning is because sorry, I got distracted by a question. The reason we don't have it unlocked in the very beginning is because when you are first starting out, you should be working in the gym itself. Okay, you should not be doing the exercise of the week. There's plenty of stuff for you to work on, so that you there's plenty of stuff for you to work on. Okay, so but people begged us because they want to have the exercise of the week. They begged us, so we said, okay, 250 points will unlock it. And by the way, the gym, if you're not familiar, the gym is fully gamified. So every time you click buttons and it goes ding. And my vision for the gym was that it was like Duolingo for bookkeepers. Okay, so you earn badges and you get, ta-das, and you earn points and it goes ka-ching and like all sorts of fun stuff. So at 250 points, the exercise of the week is unlocked. Okay, but if you're here now, then you get to do it. So let me just make this a little bit bigger. All right. And just real quick, Darla asked, okay, hold on. Darla asked, oh, that covers up my whole face. Define contract work versus freelance. Would freelance be outsourced bookkeeping businesses open to taking on new clients? I thought contract work was temporary work for 6 to 12 months, but you're full-time with them only. Okay. No, contract is a 1099 employee versus a W-2 employee. Okay. So contract means that you are your own business, and you control your time, you use your own equipment, and that's what a contractor is. A W-2 employee actually works for the employer. The employer controls their time. They use the employer's equipment. Okay. And the employer collects taxes, whereas a 1099 contractor, you manage your own taxes and all of that stuff. Okay. All right. Greg asked, of the 25% that are available, roughly how many leads or contacts are they getting per week or month? I don't know. We just started. So we'll start tracking that. And also it's hard to, it's going to be hard to measure because they're not going to go, this is not like a lead service where the leads are just like, anyone who wants a lead, they just sign up and they spread out the leads evenly. Okay. So there are lead services like that where you just get cold leads. You sign up, say, hey, I want 20 cold leads a week. And they just send 20 leads per week. That's not what this is. This is the people are viewing your profile and and reaching out to you. So there are lots of reasons why they might not be reaching out to you. Like there might be a ton of people, but if you don't have a good picture, if you haven't been working in the gym and so your stats are low, if they're looking for a W-2 and you have a contract selected, or they're not, like there's so many reasons why they would not select you. So I don't know that we'll ever be able to say, oh yeah, everyone in the system gets automatically X number of leads if you sign up. John says that I did not explain how freelance is different from contract. I feel like I did. So freelance is contract work, meaning freelance and contract are the same. So contract means a contract employee means that you are in charge of you. You're in charge of you, whereas a W-2 employee means the company is in charge of you. Okay, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. So Emil says, if you are an LLC or S Corp, you don't get a 1099. I don't think that is true. Somebody can correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure that you get a 1099 even if you are an LLC, or an LLC as a filing as an S Corp. But I'm open to being wrong. I'm always open to being wrong. Okay. All right. So let's actually get into actually doing some exercise hands-on. We're 40 minutes in. All right. So today's exercise is we are going to talk about undeposited funds. Now, to me, undeposited funds is like a simple concept, but for some reason, this is a thing that people struggle with. Students struggle with, you guys sometimes struggle with this, and even more so, are business owners struggling with this. And so this is a huge area of cleanup. Okay. So, let's go through it. Okay, so here I am inside the exercise of the week. If you are an active member of the gym and you have 250 points, then you will want to come and click the link inside of here, like I'm going to do. Okay. If you're not, John's going to go ahead and put the link so you guys can follow along. He's going to put it in the chat. If you are, in order to get the credit, nope, Tracy's asking for the link. John's going to post it any moment now. So I just want to make sure that you know that if you're in the gym, in order to get Booksmatch credit, then you have to use the link inside here. Okay. And then when you're done, click that you're done. Okay. All right. That's in order to get Booksmatch credit. If you're not already in the gym, if you're not in, then or you don't have 250 points and you just want to use the link that John just posted, then that's fine. You're just not going to get the Booksmatch credit for it. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this exercise, which is recording undeposited funds. Here is our scenario. Craig has received checks from 2 customers for outstanding invoices. He doesn't have time to take them to the bank yet, and he asks you to record the received payments to undeposited funds or payments to deposit in his QuickBooks Online file. Then we have some details about the payments. Okay, so let's back up for a minute and talk about a couple of things. Okay, so first of all, he has received checks. Okay, undeposited funds is used for cash and checks that have been received from customers for services rendered. Okay, so usually we're talking about invoices. Okay, we could also be talking about sales receipts, but really what we're talking about is invoices. So we sent out an invoice. Somebody wrote a check to pay for that invoice. Okay. We are not talking about credit card payments, and we're not talking about PayPal. We're not talking about like ACH payments. Those payments go directly into the bank. Now, they might go through, like PayPal is going to go through an intermediary before it goes to the bank, okay? But they are, you're not getting them like in your hand to then take to the bank, okay? So the checks now, before you say, I'm going to take off screen share for a minute because this is another really important thing. Okay, so before you say, oh, checks are dead, nobody uses checks anymore. I used to think that. I remember I wrote checks. I've always been very meticulous about money. And I always used duplicate checks because I could keep track, that I just wrote this check, and then I could process the duplicate checks, okay? Or, then I would know I had spent that money. And when debit cards came out, I held on to my duplicate checks for the longest time. And my ex-husband would tease me and say, Margie, you are going to be the dinosaur that is still using checks, and everybody else has moved on to debit cards. And so I used it for a really long time, and then I eventually figured out that if I just saved the receipt, I could pay for it with a debit card. I saved the receipt, and then I would know that I had spent that money, and I would use my same process, okay? So I switched to debit cards, and so everybody, like the whole world, went to debit cards, credit cards, payments, and sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second again. The whole world went to cards, okay? And like people that I know didn't even have checkbooks anymore, okay? So the pendulum swung away from checks, okay? And then something interesting started happening. Businesses who were receiving, like your business, my business, if we receive an electronic payment, a credit card, we have to pay a merchant a percentage for the privilege of processing that credit card, okay? And so we have to pay to process that. We have to pay somebody to process that credit card for us, okay? Which eats into our profits. If I charge $100 for something, $3 of it, goes away. Well, if I sell 10 things, that's $30 that now is no longer in my pocket. And so businesses started charging for accepting credit cards. They're passing along the fees that they have to pay, okay? And this is happening more and more and more, and it especially is happening in big ticket items. So we did a bunch of remodeling on our house, okay? So I spent, $25,000 on something, and the vendor says, okay, well, you can pay that $25,000 with a credit card, but I'm going to charge you an extra 2% because I have to pay, because I'm going to lose out of 2% of $25,000. And so I was like, well, what if I write a check? If I write a check or give them cash, they don't have to pay the payment processor, and so they don't have to pay fees. So more and more and more, as more vendors are pushing back and trying to pass those credit card fees on to the customers, more and more people are paying with cash and checks. So this is why we have undeposited funds. Okay, let me go back to the exercise. Yes, Michelle says checks are making a comeback because small businesses don't want to pay the processing fee. You said it in so fewer words. I blather all the time, but yes, exactly what Michelle said. Okay, so that's why we have undeposited funds. Okay, so we're talking about checks. We could also be talking about cash. Okay, but it's checks because they are not yet in the bank. That's really the key thing. It's not yet in the bank, okay? So checks, that's the first thing I wanted to mention. The second thing I wanted to mention is that it says undeposited funds or payments to deposit, okay? For years, for millennia, Intuit referred to this account as undeposited funds, okay? And forever it was called undeposited funds. But because the business owners were having so much trouble with undeposited funds, not knowing how to use it correctly, they changed it to payments to deposit. So new accounts, since they made this change, existing accounts still say undeposited funds, but new accounts, since they made this change, are called payments to deposit, with the hope that it would help the business owners know what to do, okay? All right, so we're gonna go through this exercise. I promise I'm gonna stop talking eventually, and we're gonna do this. But first, we're going to talk about where this exercise came from, because this particular exercise is a Pro Advisor Challenge. Okay, a Pro Advisor Challenge is I put it in quotes, a sort of like exercise that Intuit provides inside your QBO account to help you become more familiar with certain features that they're trying to teach you. Okay, there are a handful of these scattered throughout the training inside your QBO account. And for what we're doing the beginning of this year for the exercise of the week is we're just plowing through all of them. We'll get through them by the end of the summer, okay? So, and then we'll move on to other stuff. I had a request for how to handle insufficient funds, a bounce check. So we'll get into like that kind of stuff after we've finished plowing through these Pro Advisor challenges, okay? So if you want to find the original Pro Advisor challenge, here's how you do it, okay? You're going to log into your QBO account. You're going to go to training, click the training library tab, and then click QuickBooks Online, which is probably already open. Let's just do that much, okay? So here I am inside, let me make this a little bigger for you, inside this is my QBO account, okay? So here I am. I can tell that I'm in a QBO account. That's an accountant account because it says accountant right here, okay? And then it also, you can tell because the bar is gray, and also because it's divided into your practice up here and your books down here, okay? So that's how you know you're in an accountant account. That's what we do here at Fast and Easy QBO, is we help people with their accountant account. Inside your accountant account, you have this where it says Pro Advisor, and you select training. For those of you who are wanting to get certified, this is where you go and you can take the test to become a Pro Advisor, certified Pro Advisor. That's here. Personalized path means that you can tell them what it is that you want to learn, and they will pull all of the exercises from the entire library and create a structure for you to go through. I don't recommend that really at all, but training library is where all of the training that they have put together, all of the self-paced training is all right here in the training library, okay? It's separated into product training, okay, which is here, and you can see, so QuickBooks Online is already open. That's usually what people go to. But if I click this, I can close it, and you can see that there's other training there. So QuickBooks Online, payments, payroll, and time. But then they have also other training like foundation skills, it's like bookkeeping stuff, advising clients, etc. Okay, tax stuff, okay, all right. So this exercise is going to be in QuickBooks Online, and then you'll notice that there are these different tiles, okay? So each tile represents a module that, a module worth of training. It's all like on a particular topic. It's kind of similar, but not exactly the same as the skill groups in BooksMatch. Kind of similar, but not quite, okay? All right, so going back to our exercise, So we're going to go to the banking tile to find this exercise. Okay, so here is the banking tile. Now you'll notice that many of them are divided into the skill level. Okay, so you have beginner skills, intermediate skills, and advanced skills. The beginner skills are just like the basic information, like getting oriented. Okay, the intermediate skills are the things that you are tested on for the basic level certification. Okay, so if I hover over this, you'll see that it says tested in the QuickBooks Online exam. Okay, so those are the intermediate skills, are the basic ones. Then you have advanced skills, and these are the skills that are tested in the advanced level certification. So if I hover over that, you can see it says tested in advanced QuickBooks Online exam. Okay. All right, so our exercise today takes us to intermediate skills, and then we're going to go to lesson number 5, recording undeposited funds. Okay, so here it is, intermediate skills. We're going to go to lesson number 5 that says recording undeposited funds. Now, once we're in here, each lesson is divided into different sections, and you can sometimes use these links on the right hand side to hop to a particular section. It doesn't always work. Let's see, today it's not working. Okay, the reason it sometimes doesn't work is because of the structure of their training. So I'm going to just scroll through and we'll find out why we can't just go. Okay, so in this case, the reason we can't just go to the Pro Advisor Challenge is because there's a knowledge check. They want us to make sure that we know what it is before we actually do it, which I think is ridiculously backwards. You should have practice doing it and then be tested on it. I don't see why they test you and then have you go do it. It makes zero sense to me, but I'm not in charge. I don't work for Intuit. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what this knowledge check says. It says, your client records payments from customers in QuickBooks Online as they receive them throughout the day. They just deposited 4 checks at the bank. Oh my gosh. What is the next step they have to do to deposit those payments in QuickBooks Online? I cannot believe they are asking you this question. We have not even recorded the checks yet. Okay, there's 2 steps to this process. First, we receive the money, okay, and then we deposit it in the bank. That's the second step, is depositing it in the bank, okay? So now they're asking us about step 2 before we've had a chance to practice step 1. Seriously, what the heck? Okay, all right, so the answer is we're gonna do a bank deposit, but that's not what we're talking about today. Okay. So we're going to continue the training, and it's going to take us to the Pro Advisor Challenge. Here's the Pro Advisor Challenge. Here is the task. It's what we call the scenario. Okay, so this looks familiar. Then they tell you how to know if you did it right. Okay, and then they tell you, so they expect you to just do it, and then before they give you any instructions. So here's the instructions, and that is so that's, yeah, but we like our signature style better, and so that's why we do it our way. All right, so let's do it our way and see and walk through it and actually do this exercise. Okay, so here's what we've just done. We found it. All right, to start the exercise, we have to be in the sample company. Now, if you are live with me today, then you probably know how to access the sample company and you're good to go. If you're watching this on YouTube and you don't know anything about the sample company, then of course there will be a link below that tells you all about the sample company, how to get to it, all of the good stuff. For us here live, we're going to click the gear icon and then we're going to go to sample company. Note that when I do that, it warns me that I'm going to get logged out of my account. Okay, this is really important for those of you who are studying for the Pro Advisor test. Okay, if you're studying for the Pro Advisor test, You do not want to load the sample company while you are taking the test because it will log you out of the test. Your test will disappear, okay? So if you're in any of our courses, we'll of course teach you how to get around that. So you can have both open, so you can look at stuff, test stuff, but just note, don't do this during the test. Okay, so I'm gonna hit continue. All right, and it's gonna load the sample company here. Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. Craig is our fictitious business owner, and we're gonna like walk through his stuff. Okay, now that I have loaded the sample company, okay, here's my little warning, okay? So now we're gonna get ready to do the exercise. Here's a reminder of our scenario. Craig has received checks from 2 customers for outstanding invoices. He doesn't have time to take them to the bank yet, and he asked you to record the received payments to undeposited funds or payments to deposit, okay? So he's got 2 payments here, and we're going to apply those to the invoices, okay? So first we're gonna do this one from Cookies by Kathy, okay? Now, if you have, so this exercise is created in we use a tool called Scribe. And I forgot to have this open to show you. But if you load the extension, which is, it's right here, it's called Scribe AI Documentation. Okay, so this right here, if you are in Google Chrome and you load this, have this extension loaded, then when you're in our exercise, you can click this little button that says Guide Me, and it will open up the exercise right next to the sample company, okay? So it used to be that we would have to switch back and forth between tabs. We don't have to do that anymore because it's right next to each other, okay? Which is exciting. We love this, but it's gonna get so much better. Like, I can't tell you, so many exciting things happening in the Fascinating QBO world, guys. Like, I can't tell you about it yet. But anyway, so yes, for right now, it's gonna be on the side here. Okay, all right, so here we are. This is what we're doing. Okay, so as a reminder, what happened? We received 2 checks, okay? So now these checks are for invoices. The first step, what we're doing here is we have to apply the payment to the invoice, okay? So that we have to find the invoice. So we've got the check. And by the way, if you're in the gym, you have to do this every month. Every month you have to, you receive checks and you have to apply them payments, but we actually give you the check. so you can say, here's the check, and then I go. In the Pro Advisor one, we just have to pretend, okay? So we just have to pretend and use the instructions that we got the check, okay? So we have to find the check. There's so many ways. There are so many, not find the check, find the invoice. There are so many ways to do that. But our instructions are to use the receive payment, okay? So we're gonna do plus new, and then we're gonna do receive payment, okay? So now this is a receive payment transaction. Remember, we have to find the invoice. So the way we're going to find this invoice is by customer. Notice I could find the invoice by number if I had the number, which sometimes they write the number on the check, sometimes they don't. Usually you know the customer, so you can just look for the customer, okay? So in the customer field, we're going to select Cookies by Kathy. I can either start typing it, or I can just look, I can just scroll through. If you have a ton, then you probably want to start typing it. That's usually what I do. But if there's not very many, you can just scroll through and find it. Okay, so there's Cookies by Kathy. Now, what Intuit has done, let me just get this so you can see. Okay, what Intuit has done is you put in the customer name, and it pulls up all of the invoices that are outstanding, meaning all of the invoices that Cookies by Kathy has not paid yet, okay? And then you have to say, all right, so I have this money now, which invoice does this apply to? Now, in our case right now, there is only one invoice for Cookies by Kathy, and that's this one right here, invoice number 1016, okay? So it was sent on April 14th. It was due on May 14th, and we just received it today, so it's overdue, right? So up here, the payment date, this is the date that we received the payment, okay? In our exercise, we're just going to leave it because we're just going to say it happened today. If you're actually a bookkeeper, you want to keep track of the dates. In general, all of our Fast and Easy QBO exercises, we rarely have dates on things because the sample company dates are always changing. Every day it resets, it changes, okay? So we rarely have dates. So for today, we're just going to say that this day, which is it's defaulting to today, and so we're just going to leave that, okay? So that is this step right here, okay? In the payment method, we're going to select check, okay? So we just received a check, okay? In the reference field, number field, we're going to type 1234. This is the check number. Now, our exercise didn't actually give us the check number, I don't think. Let's rewind, okay? It says the first payment is for Cookies by Kathy, the invoice is 1016, and the amount is $75. So it actually didn't say the check number, so my team made up a check number, but usually you would have a check number, okay? And then right here is the important point, okay? Right here is, this is like the whole point of this exercise, is that we're depositing it to undeposited funds. Undeposited funds is like an envelope or a drawer. It's like a place to keep stuff until you take it to the bank. Now, when you take it to the bank, this isn't part of the exercise, but we will go over this today. When you take it to the bank and you make a deposit, that deposit is going to have multiple checks in it. Typically you have, whatever, 4, 5, 10 checks. You take them to the bank is just going to say this total amount was deposited, okay? And that's what's going to show up on the bank feed is that total amount, okay? So that's why we put them in undeposited funds, and then later when we make the bank deposit, we're going to say which checks were in this deposit, okay? All right, so that's what that is. Okay, so we're confirming that it is deposited to undeposited funds, okay? All right, we're saying yes, it's going to apply to this invoice. Remember, I could have multiple invoices, and so I have to decide which invoice is this payment for. So here I have this invoice right here, so I'm going to check that box, and notice what happened when I did that. The invoice, the original invoice, was for $75. The open balance means $75 is still open. That means they haven't paid anything on it at all. If they had previously paid $25, the open balance would be $50, okay? So when I checked this, it automatically put in the open balance, the $75. It assumes that the check I received was for $75, okay, because that's how much they owed. But maybe they didn't pay the whole thing. Maybe they paid $25, okay? So you can change that right here. You can change how much you want to apply to this particular invoice. You can change how much you got in total, okay? But we are not doing that in this exercise, okay? All right. So when clicking the checkbox, I'm sorry I can't make this side bigger for you guys, but well, I can widen it a little bit. Okay, hopefully you can see. Okay, when clicking the checkbox, QBO automatically assumes the payment field should match the open balance. Since Kathy paid in full, we can leave this as is. Okay, so now that we've recorded the payment for Kathy, let's record the payment received from Jeff. Okay, so down here, normally we would save and close, but since we're doing multiple at a time, then we can we can use this little down arrow and select Save and New. Okay, so I'm going to select Save and New. It's going to say it's saving the payment, and now we're going to do it again. Okay, so now again we're going to do this again, and we're going to do this with Jeff's Jalopies. Okay, so we're going to do again Jeff's Jalopies. Let me type it this time so you can see Jeff's Jalopies. Again, if I were doing this exercise, I would do the invoice number so you could see how it works both times, but I'm not into it. This is not. Okay. All right. In the customer field, select Jeff's Jalopies. Okay. Once again, you can leave the payment date as is. It defaults to today. Remember, in a real life scenario, you would want to make sure this date matches the day that it was received. So that's here. That's all squished now because there we go. That's typically what it looks like. Okay. So we're going to go to the payment method is check. Okay. We're going to say that the check number is 12345. Remember, this is the client's or the customer's check number. So you can have multiple check numbers. I mean, you can have duplicate check numbers and it doesn't matter because it's the client's check number. It's not the same as when it's reverse and we are writing the checks. Okay. So we've got, it's depositing to undeposited funds. It's not going to the bank just yet. And then confirm the deposit says undeposited funds. Okay, Again, we're going to click the checkbox and we're going to say, hey, this is applying to this invoice. Again, it put the open balance in the payment here. Okay. And now we're going to save and close. Now, what we should have in this exercise, let's see. I'm logged out. So what we should have in this exercise, and John, if you could make a note for me to add this, is in the original exercise, they actually go through, they show you how to confirm that it has actually been applied. Okay. So let me just do that real quick. If I go to not the overview, I meant to go to all sales. Okay, and let me just close. We're done with the exercise. From now on, it's just me talking. Okay, so I'm gonna close this. Okay. I can go to next. I'm gonna close all these pop-ups. Okay, so if I go to sales, so for those of you who are new, everything on the left-hand navigation bar, okay, these are centers. Okay, so I went to the sales center. And if I hover over this and I go to each of these things, you'll notice they correspond to a tab here. Okay, so sales, all sales, that's a tab. Okay, it all matches. Okay, so if I go to all sales, they have this money bar. And this money bar shows you how many estimates you have, how much unbilled income you have. Unbilled income that's an advanced topic for another time, but here is overdue invoices. So before we paid these, Jeff and Kathy were either in the overdue or in the open. I know Kathy was overdue. I didn't pay attention to Jeff, but anyway, so they would be here. But now we can go to the recently paid ones, okay? And I should be able to see the ones I just paid. And I cannot for some reason. Interesting. 14 recently paid. And the ones I recently paid are not there. All right, well, never mind that, guys. What the heck? Money received. Let me do that. Here we go. Jeff's Jalopies and Cookies by Kathy. Why wasn't it in the recently paid? I don't know. But anyway, there you can see money received, and it was a payment, and it paid. Oh gosh, guys. Okay. So before we wrap up with our marketing prompt, oh, Kathy says hers are there. So maybe it's just me. Why it's not there and recently paid. Let me go back to the overview. Go to all sales. Recently paid. Nope, it's not there. I don't know. Anyway, I just want to, before I go on to the marketing prompt, which is how we always wrap up, I just want to talk briefly. Jesse's saying recently paid is paid, closed is money received. So Jesse, would it show there if it were partially paid? Is that what you're saying? All right. Anyway, we're running out of time. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. Okay, this is related to the exercise, but not part of the exercise. Okay, so I want to remind you what we just did. What we just did was we did a receive payment. You can also, there's a ton of ways to get there, but if I go to, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. If I go to an invoice, like any outstanding invoice, and edit it, actually I could have done it in other places too. I can click receive payment right here. Like that's another way to get to it. There's all sorts of ways to get to it. I can click receive payment right here. The point is that there is this step called receive payment, which is where you mark the invoice as paid. And when you receive the payment, you have to say where that money is going. Okay, so if it goes directly to the bank, then you're going to say it goes directly to whatever account it's going to. Okay, in our case with checks and cash, it's not going directly to the bank. Okay, it's going to this temporary holding place, this undeposited funds. Now, is there ever a situation in which you get a check and it goes directly into the bank? I would do like the Jeopardy music to see if you're testing, but there's a little bit of a delay. So when I'm talking, it's a few minutes before I see your thing. So I will just tell you. Also, since we're running late today. What if you do a mobile deposit? Okay. If you get the check and you immediately mobile deposit it. Okay. Karen got it. Good. If you get a check and you immediately mobile deposit it. Okay. Now there's going to be a one-to-one relationship between the bank record and the deposit. Okay. Or the received payment. If you're doing a mobile deposit and you do it immediately, you can say deposit to checking, okay, for your received payment. You only want to do that if you do it immediately, okay? If you do it, if you're not doing it immediately, for Pete's sake, use undeposited funds, because otherwise you'll keep track. You'll lose track. And this is what happens all the time. Business owners, they collect the checks and it takes me a while. Like if I'm going to do the mobile deposit, it's kind of a lot of steps. I got to click all the things. I got to take the picture. It's kind of a lot of steps. It's kind of a pain. So they collect the checks. They hold off actually doing the deposit. If you're holding off doing the deposit, you want to you want to have it go to undeposited funds. Okay, you don't want to have it go directly. Even if you plan to do a mobile deposit, you don't want to have it go directly to the checking account. Okay, so be aware of that. The other thing is, and this might be the exercise for next week, but I hate to leave you hanging, so I'm just going to talk about it briefly. Is what happens when you do go to the bank. Okay, so now you've got your checks in undeposited funds. They're in this envelope. They're in this drawer. How do you get them out of there? And the way you do that is a bank deposit. Okay, so you go to Plus New. There's a free exercise. In the free exercises list, it talks all about this. Okay, so somewhere out there. Sorry, I wasn't prepared enough to like give you the link, but it's in there in the free exercises list where you can go further. I can't remember what the exercise of the week is. Next week, we might be going over this again, okay, which is fine. You can't go over it enough times because people get confused. So you're going to do a bank deposit, okay? So now I'm going to the bank. What am I depositing? I have like an envelope of stuff that I'm taking with me to the bank. What is in that envelope? Well, hopefully what's in the envelope is the checks that you have been collecting from your customers, okay? So when I click bank deposit, you're gonna see these are the checks that are sitting there waiting to be deposited, okay? Maybe that's why they called it they renamed it payments to deposit, okay? So here are the two we just did, okay? We just put Jeff's Jalopies in there. We just did Cookies by Kathy, and it looks like there's two others that have been sitting in there. So when Craig goes to the bank and he comes back with that little receipt and, oh, I went to the bank and I deposited this. This is what was inside that deposit. It's just going to be a total. Let me just see what the total is, okay? So what you're going to see, either because Craig told you, gave you the little piece of paper, or because you see it come through in the bank feeds, the total is going to say 22,1852. Well, what does that total represent? You have to know that it represents these four. And this is where people mess up all the time. Because 2 weeks ago we talked about processing bank feeds. And so if I go to my bank transactions, okay, and here's a deposit, okay? And there's other deposits here, okay? So this is matching a bank deposit. But if you didn't create a bank deposit, if you just created plus and bank deposit, and there's nothing for it to match to, then it will just, in fact, let me do that real quick. I hate to take up more time, but let me go to this deposit. Okay, this deposit consists of these transactions, but I'm actually going to deposit it. I'm going to delete it. So 868.15. So I remember. Okay, I'm going to delete this. Okay, so I'm going to delete it. So now that deposit, that 868, there's nothing for it to match to. Okay, so what does this mean? All of that stuff that was previously like in the one that I just deleted, had all of those ones, now they're back in undeposited funds. So if I go to plus new and I go to bank deposit, boom, here's that whole list. Okay, so two of them, Jeff's Jalopies and Kathy, these two are the ones we did today. Whatever, can't remember, Cool Cars and Freeman, one of the Freeman ones, they're the ones that were in there when we looked at it just now. But when I deleted that deposit, all of these other ones, which we thought were in that deposit, are now back in undeposited funds. And here's what business owners do. They don't clear out undeposited funds. They see this deposit and they're like, oh yeah, I added that. Let me just add that. And in that case, I just added it to undeposited funds. Maybe they are smart enough. Let me undo that. Maybe they know not to have it be uncategorized income. Maybe they go, this was all accounts receivable. Okay, accounts receivable, but it doesn't actually match the specific customers. Okay, maybe they do accounts receivable. Maybe they just do that was all sales of product income. Okay, so now you have a mess on your hands, because now they're not getting cleared out of undeposited funds. This money is not matching to the invoices. So even if you have accounts receivable there or sales of product income, it's not, the invoices are still showing as outstanding. This is a huge problem. So that's why our marketing prompt today is about is about that. So what is the marketing prompt? Okay, so I'm going to go back to our exercise of the week. Okay, now one of the things that we give as part of the gym, again, no additional fee, everything that you do in the QBO gym, you earn marketing prompts. And the reason that we have marketing prompts is because I kept hearing over and over and over people saying, I know I'm supposed to post on social media, but I don't know what to say. And I was like, I know what to say. Here's what you can say. So everything that you do in the gym, you earn marketing prompts. And that includes the exercise of the week. So the exercise of the week, here's the marketing prompt. Here's what you can say. Hey, business owner, if you are passing on your credit card fees to your customers, we just talked about that, then you might be seeing a rise in customers paying by check. That's great, but make sure you're handling those checks correctly in QuickBooks Online. If you're not, you'll end up with books showing duplicate income, and that can get you in all sorts of trouble. Let's touch base, and I'll show you the correct way to handle it. Okay? All right, so that's this week. Oh, John, put that in the chat so everyone has it. And then I'm going to tell you how to use the marketing prompts. But before I do that, let me go back to, I saw some questions. So Ilma says, how is this managed? If the checks were recorded in the clearing account instead of the, did you mean checking account? You said if the checks were recorded in the clearing account instead of undeposited funds account, and therefore were never deposited in the bank because they are still hanging out in the clearing account, which needs to be cleaned out. So I think you're using the term clearing account incorrectly. So a clearing account is, I'm going to just turn this off for a second. I'll put it back up. A clearing account is any temporary holding place, okay? It's an account that is designed to hold money for a specific purpose and then be cleared out, okay? Be zeroed out at some point, okay? So that's the purpose of a clearing account. So undeposited funds is a type of clearing account, okay? So now that cleared up, let me put up the question again. If the checks were recorded, did you mean recorded in the checking account instead of undeposited funds, and therefore were never deposited in the bank because they are still hanging out in the checking account, which needs to be clear? Again, the question doesn't really make sense, but let me assume that you mean if they instead of selecting undeposited funds, they selected checking, okay? But then they never actually deposited those checks, or they deposited them later. Then what you'll see on the bank feeds is, first you'll see on the bank feed, if they deposited them later but never created a plus, never did the plus new bank deposit, what you'll see in the bank feeds is that there's just a deposit, a $2,000 deposit, and there's no matching record in QuickBooks Online. Okay, so you can go in and match up the deposit transaction to those specific checks that were that made up that deposit if you know what they are. That's like a challenge, and that's part of the if you're doing cleanup, that's part of the job is to figure that out and to talk to the business owner and try and do all of this matchup. There are ways that you can clean out the undeposited funds, that there's like a trick where you can do it a quick way just to clean it out, and that is in the free exercises. In the free exercises in the advanced, pretty sure it's in the advanced section, there is one exercise that says it's how to clean out undeposited funds the the quick way and one, or the easy way, and there's another exercise that is how to clean out undeposited funds the correct way. So there's the easy way, and then there's the correct way. There's two separate exercises, so you can go in and you can practice those. Okay. All right, so Ilma, hopefully that, the second half of that question is, so the first thing is that you'll see in the bank feeds, you'll see a deposit, and there'll be no matching, bank deposit to match it up to. And you'll have to clean that up. The second way that it'll manifest is when you reconcile. If they have never deposited those checks, okay, then you'll see it when you reconcile, because you'll see on your record it looks like you did deposit the checks, but then on the bank's record when you reconcile, there's no record of you having deposited them or of Craig having deposited them. So that's where you'll catch it. So hopefully, Ilma, that answered that question. Okay. Kurt says, I love this. Just another example of why quick and easy, I think you mean fast and easy, my sign, fast and easy, is so much better than Intuit's training. Thank you, Kurt. I don't know what I was saying when you posted that, but I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. We got the marketing prompt. Okay. Poi is asking, how do you handle, why isn't it showing up? Oh, I know why. Okay. How do you handle if there is NSF, non-sufficient funds, and the check has been returned to us as service provider and the funds has already put in the undeposited funds? So we have an exercise, one of the free exercises walks you through how to handle a bounce check. And it doesn't specifically go into the undeposited funds detail, but I'm not sure that that's quite important. But anyway, there is one of the free exercises is on handling non-sufficient funds. And we did have a request to go over that again on a live stream. So that's slated. We'll do that at some point, probably in the fall. We'll do that. So for now, I would recommend that you just do the free exercise for help. Okay. Nan says, another way is to have the client text or email daily cash or check deposit sheets to daily match to. I don't know what that was referring to exactly. But yes, I mean, you definitely want your business owner should be telling you what they're doing. So if they're depositing checks, then they should be, texting you or whatever. There was a previous question I saw. Oh, when we were talking about, let's see. This is Tracy asked, once I get to 250 points, can I go back and do the old exercise of the week? And the answer is yes. How do I don't know how do I find my, there. I don't know how to turn that off. So, let me just show you real quick. I'm going to go back to, so here we are, exercise of the week. And here you can go to, so once you've done the exercise and you check it off, it will disappear. Okay, so it'll disappear from the screen, but you can go back to past exercises and you can revisit any of the exercises that you want to do again. Okay, let's see. What other questions do I have in the chat? Let's see. Checks are making a comeback. Yes, so Jesse said, what really changed? Did the merchant processors up their fees because it was obviously worth it in the beginning to start taking electronic card payments? I don't know. I mean, it's just people are pinching pennies. I mean, I think they just realized that accept. I mean, at first it was convenience to accept the credit cards, but then if the fees got to really eat them up, then they're taking checks. But somebody pointed out, I don't know why it just scrolls weird when I take somebody off. Somebody pointed out about, here it is. Randy said, in my experience, why does that disappear on me? Randy said, in my experience, the debate about accepting cards is customer convenience versus cost. Not just customer convenience, but, and then here's Randy's other one. Oh, what the heck? Sorry. Randy said, plus you have the cost of check handling and bounce checks, etc. So yeah, again, you have to weigh that. I mean, in my business, I don't accept checks. It's all electronic, just for convenience, because I mean, it is a pain. Doing the mobile deposit is a pain. Like, you have to, find the time, you have to like do your little thing and put in the numbers and get the picture right and like all that stuff. And so it's a business decision. You just have to decide it. Okay. Now going back to, all right. So Deb says, exported third party to undeposited funds, but bank deposit made to QBO not matching bank deposits. I don't know what you're saying there. Sorry. If you have deposited the check, then it would not be in undeposited funds. Yes. So if you have deposited the check before you go in and do the receive payment, then at that point you can just put it in undeposited, put it directly to checking. If it was just that check, the thing about undeposited funds and using the bank deposit transaction is the bank deposit transaction is multiple checks. If you're doing a mobile deposit, it's just one check at a time. Like, that's what you see. What we're trying to do is match what's in the bank feed. Okay, so in the bank feed, if you're doing mobile deposit, you're just going to see one check at a time, one check at a time, one check at a time. Okay, but if you go to the bank with a stack of checks, what you're going to see is the sum of those checks. And so that's why you need to know which checks are included in that sum. Okay. Okay. How do I turn that off? Okay. Rosalba says, I am paying monthly for the gym, but I'm currently enrolled in the cleanup instead. Not instead, in addition to. Can I stop the membership and reinstate it once I'm done with the cleanup, please? Yes. Email support at Fast and Easy QBO, support at fastandeasyqbo.com, and we can switch your subscription to a subscription hold. So it's $10 a month rather than like whatever you're paying, and that will hold on to your stats, but you will not be able to be open to work and get the leads and stuff. The only way to do that is to actually be active in the gym. So, okay. All right, let's talk about the marketing prompts and wrap up this marathon call. Okay, so John posted the marketing prompt previously. It's not too far back, so I think you can see it. I will read it again. Okay, here we go. So here's the marketing prompt for this week. I'll make it a little bigger. There we go. Okay, so again, if you're passing on your credit card fees to your customers, then you might be seeing a rise in customers paying by check. That's great, but make sure you're handling those checks correctly in QuickBooks Online. If you're not, you'll end up with books showing duplicate income, and that can get you in all sorts of trouble. Let's touch base, and I'll show you the correct way to handle it. All right, so this is how you're going to use that marketing prompt. Now, we are not a marketing company. we're a training company. In fact, internally we say we're not a training company, we're a doing company, because we're all about you actually doing the work in QuickBooks Online. Okay, it's one thing to watch a video, it's another thing to pass a test, it's another thing entirely to actually do the thing. Okay, so we're all about training. We're not a marketing company. We never will be a marketing company. Okay, that's not in the grand plan. However, we recognize that all of you are trying to get clients. Everybody wants to have is trying to get clients, and so we provide a way for you. We only teach this one method of getting clients, and it's called the 3-2-1 method. I'm going to share it with you today. And we just had somebody in the group just this morning or yesterday or somebody say, yay, like I got a client, I landed my first consultation using the method. So, all right, here we go. Let's talk about the 3-2-1 method. Now this method, I'm not a marketing company, but Bold House is a marketing company, and they have given, this is their methodology, and they have given us permission to use it, okay, and to teach it to you. It's slightly modified based on like what they do, but anyway, so 3 times a day, okay, 3 times per day, you are going to directly outreach to specific people via email, text, DM, phone call, however you do it. Okay, you're going to directly reach out to 3 people, okay? And this is not like posting a flyer in the Chamber of Commerce, this is not sending an email to everyone this is not posting on social media. It is directly reaching out to 3 individuals, okay? And here's what you're going to say. You are going to say, hey, guess what? I am a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Who do you know that I could connect with? Note that you are not selling your services, okay? You are not selling your services to any of these people because you don't even know if any of these people are potential clients. These are just people that you know. Now, somebody the other day gave me a hard time about the whole friends and family. If you've ever been in a MLM. There's a joke, it's called you're in the NFL club, no friends left, because in MLM, Amway, that type of thing, then they always want you to sell to your friends and family. We are not under any circumstances selling to our friends and family, okay? Because unlike, Amway that sells soap and everybody uses soap, not everyone needs a bookkeeper, okay? So this is not about you selling your services. This is about you widening your network and meeting the people who could potentially be your client at some point, okay? So you're going to reach out to these people and say, I am a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. And by the way, if you are not a Pro Advisor, if you are not a certified Pro Advisor, become one. John's going to put the link in the chat. You can get our Fast and Easy QBO course. You can get your basic certification in 5 hours and just get certified. Just get certified. That way you have your certificate, you have your badge, you know about QuickBooks Online, and so now you're just widening your net. You're saying, who can I connect with? Okay? So out of that activity, out of talking to 3 individuals every day, now you've reached out to, in a week, 15 individuals. And some of those people will say, I don't know anybody, okay? And by the way, you're not asking yes or no, do you know anybody? Because that's just a yes or no question. You're asking, who do you know? Who do you know that I could connect with? Basically, who is a small business owner using QuickBooks Online? I'm not trying to sell my services. I just want to widen my network, just want to connect with them, okay? So out of that activity, out of talking to, reaching out to, emailing, texting, whatever you do, you're going to have 15 people. And the goal is, out of those 15 people, 2 times per week, you are connecting to potential clients. Okay, so some of those 15 people are going to say, I don't know anybody. And some of those 15 people are going to, oh, I know a ton of people, So the idea is you're out of those 15 people and the people they know, you're going to connect with, ideally, at a minimum, 2 potential clients. It just means they're a small business owner that uses QuickBooks Online. Okay, so they're potential clients, but you're still not selling to them because you don't know if they need your services. Okay, so what are you going to do? How are you going to introduce yourself? You're just going to say, hey, I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Would love to stay connected in case you need any help. That's all you're doing. Just saying, hey, I just want to be connected to you just so you know who I am. Okay, that's all it is. And then you're going to just connect with them on LinkedIn or your social media of choice. But LinkedIn is typically where professionals hang out. There's other platforms, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're just going to pick a social media platform and connect to it. LinkedIn is great because in LinkedIn, you can have your bio, and every time you do anything, your byline, I said bio before, I meant byline, your byline will be attached to your name. So it's always your name and then your byline, okay? So you want to make sure that your byline says that you are a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Don't say QBO, nobody knows what that is, okay? Say QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, okay? So, and it can say QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor and other stuff, but you want it to say QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor because every time you do anything, it will always say your name, QuickBooks Online at Pro Advisor, okay? So now, a couple of times a week, you're gonna post tips on QBO in LinkedIn, okay? This is where you're gonna use those marketing prompts. Now you can just use them as is. A lot of people use them, put them in Canva, make them a pretty image. We have one student who takes them, turns them into uses ChatGPT to turn them into an article, post that. It doesn't matter. The point is that you're just putting your name out, you're just putting the information out there, okay? Again, this is not you selling your services. This is you raising your flag and saying, I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, I can help you, okay? In addition to your posts a couple of times a week, you're also going to like and comment on other people's posts. Now, when you like and comment on other people's posts, you're going to do this as a normal, natural human being, okay? You're not going to be a sleazy salesman. You are not commenting on somebody's post and saying, hey, I am a bookkeeper. Do you need any bookkeeping services? No, that is sleazy and slimy, okay? Don't do it. Be a normal, natural human being. So if somebody posts a picture of their kid playing baseball, you don't say, hey, I'm a bookkeeper. Do you need? No, you say, cute kid, or good luck in the finals, or like whatever, okay? And be a normal, natural human being, okay? The entire point of all of this is simply to keep waving your flag so that people know who to turn to when they need help, okay? How many realtors do you know, okay? The reason that you know who the realtors are in your life is because they constantly tell you they are realtors, okay? That's all we're doing here is, and how many times do you buy a house, right? Or sell a house, okay? You don't need a realtor, you only need a realtor probably a couple times in your life. But at any point in your life, you know who the realtors are, so you can reach out to them, okay? All right, so that's all you're doing at this stage, is that you are just waving your flag and developing. You want people to know, like, and trust you. You're developing relationships. You're being a normal, natural human being, okay? All right, and then from all of that activity, okay, so twice a week you're connecting to potential clients, but then you are on social media posting all of these things, okay? And then the goal, at a minimum, your goal is to once a month do a diagnostic review. Now, how how you do a diagnostic review is up to you. We teach you how to do a diagnostic review in the cleanup course. John will post that link in the chat also. So we'll teach you how to do it, and I'll tell you about that link in just a second. But we teach you how to do it as part of the cleanup course, but there are tons of other diagnostic review, consultation, YouTube videos, courses like out there. Just learn how to do it, okay? And here's what you're going to say. This is how you're going to land this once a month. After you have developed a relationship with somebody, you're posting on each other's stuff. You know that they're a potential client, posting on each other's stuff. Then you're going to say, hey, as you know, I am a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Would you like me to take a look at your books and see how you're doing? That's all it is. That's all it is. Not like, hey, do you want to hire me? No. It's like, hey, you're offering to help them and see, hey, how are you doing? Would you like me to do that? We can just see. And maybe they'll say yes, maybe they'll say no. Okay. If you are in our cleanup course, then maybe you want to add, hey, I just finished a course on diagnostic reviews and I'm looking for some practice. Would you mind if I took a look at your books? I'll just tell you what I see, and we'll see if I can help you or not. That's fine. I just need the practice. Okay? Totally simple, easy way to the number one, people are so hungry for bookkeepers. Really, the most important thing is that you tell people that you are a bookkeeper. Let me just tell you quickly about the cleanup link that John posted. Okay? That cleanup link has a $600 discount associated with it for 6 days. Okay? So if you have ever clicked that link before, you don't qualify for the discount. If you're brand new, and this is the first time you've seen it, then when you click that link, there will be the $600 discount. So just so you know, on that. Oh, John didn't post it yet. He'll post it soon. I'm sure he will. Okay, so that is all right. So let me go back to the chat. Patricia says, I'm trying to update my picture on Booksmatch. Can you show me how to do that again? So you should be able to just click the picture. When you click the picture, then you'll have an opportunity to change it. If you need additional help, then reach out to support@fastandeasyqbo.com. Let's see. Rosalba says, cleanup is awesome and a very advanced course. It would be nice if we team up in WhatsApp to ask questions. So the cleanup course comes with a forum. So if you're in the forum, Rosalba, then you should be able to post or ask questions there. And I'm not there, but I understand that it's a fun team environment. One thing that would be, so for those of you who are in the cleanup course includes a final project. So we're all about hands-on here. I've mentioned that several times. We're all about hands-on here. And so of course we have exercises. We have 44 exercises throughout the course that you can do to practice the things that we're talking about. Then at the end of it, you have a final project where you actually get a set of messy books and you have to clean it up, okay? And so when we first released the final project, we did a cohort. So we sat together and I did the cleanup. We all did the cleanup together, did the final project together, and I was Zoom and on screen and all of that stuff. And anyway, so it's all recorded. So if you're in the cleanup course, you can watch us go through, and it's I think it was 30 hours that it took us to do the cleanup, which I know that sounds like a lot, but you also learn how much that cleanup was worth. So we have a pricing calculator. So one of the things in the cleanup is you learn how to price your services. So as part of the final project, you like go through and you learn how you would price that final project. And so when you do the math at how much that final project is worth, and then it took you 30 hours to work on it, that's a pretty nice, you're making some pretty nice buck there. So, and I forgot what I was saying, is about the WhatsApp group, is that while we were all working on the final project together, we had such camaraderie, and it was so fun to be like working on the cleanup together, that we were like, it would be fun to actually in real life, if we have cleanups, do them at the same time. Okay, so what are they called? Like work sessions, you know, how like people will get on Zoom and we're like all working, we're not talking to each other, but we're all like working at the same time on our own stuff. And so somebody said, wouldn't it be fun to like actually do that? So maybe. Anyway, all right, so let me get you the cleanup link. I used to not be able to, this is why we have Joel or John in the background, is because it used to be that I couldn't interact with the chat at all, and so I could only read it, but now I can. I just don't like to have it open because there's such a delay. Okay, all right, so now you have that link. That link, like I said, if it's the first time you've ever clicked on that link, you have 6 days to take advantage of the $600 off. If it's not, if you don't see the discount, that means that you have clicked on that link before. Okay. All right. So let's see. So Patricia says, how can I change my name on Booksmatch? I think you might have to email support to do that. We might have to do that on my end, on our end, but I'm not quite sure. It's a good question. Okay, Maria says, I took the cleanup course and it's amazing! Yay! We like to hear that. Maria, we are capturing testimonials. So I think Corey sent out an email asking people for feedback. So if you are one of those people who have found it like super amazing, helpful, then we would love to hear from you. So if you didn't get that, I think Corey sent it out, but if she didn't, please write to support@fastandeasyqbo.com and tell us your experience with cleanup. We would love to hear it. Okay. So Rosalba says, I'm saying that because my numbers don't match with the videos, and I would like somebody to tell me what's doing wrong. Yes, a lot of video hours to watch if you're doing the cleanup. I feel like you should be able to do that by following along the videos. But if you are, you might be able to just like do a loom of what you're seeing on the screen and post it in the forum. That might be able to help you with that. Okay, all right. Jesse says, cleanup is great. I believe the diagnostic review lands clients like an air traffic controller. Oh my gosh, I have to save that one. That's amazing. That is like Corey. So Corey Jankowski is our cleanup course creator, and she's amazing. Like she is, I don't want to say the queen of cleanup because there's somebody online that already has claimed that title, but she is amazing. She used to actually work for Intuit in the cleanup department, and people would always send her the most complicated ones. She has developed a method of doing it's not even just of doing the diagnostic review, it's her method of presenting the findings of a diagnostic review such that the clients instantly see the value, and her sign-up rate is close to 100%. Like almost everybody that she does a diagnostic review for, she lands as a client. So yeah, I'm gonna put this up again. That's why Jesse says the review lands clients like an air traffic controller. I'm definitely gonna send that to our copywriter, Jesse. If you have more that you want to say about that, email email support@fastandeasyqbo.com or I don't know if that email went out. We're collecting feedback, so that would be amazing. Thank you. Jesse says, regimes can change. Corey can take the crown. Oh, you guys are awesome. Oh my gosh, it's 1 o'clock, 2 hours. For those of you who are new, do we always go 2 hours? No. Do I frequently talk and just keep talking? Yes, I do. And I, for so long, tried to keep the call at 12. To keep it at an hour, which would end at 12. And I just kind of it just never, ever happened. So now my goal is kind of 12:30, but here it is, 1 o'clock. So, all right, we've got somebody. Okay, Paul is asking, I'm a CPA with almost no experience using QBO. My specialty is tax. I work for Intuit TurboTax part-time, year-round, but I want to learn QBO to take on bookkeeping clients, do the work myself initially, and later contracting to others when I am at capacity. Which of your products do you suggest I start with? That would be the basic level QBO, Pro Advisor certification. So that is going to, and John's computer's dead, so he can't post it. But Fast and Easy, oh, here, I can do it. www.fastandeasyqbo.com. All right, so that is our basic level certification. There we go. So that's the basic level certification. It includes the free Getting Started course. If you're on the call, you already have the Getting Started course. So that's like laying the groundwork of getting your account and using the stamp company and figuring out QBO. So that kind of lays the groundwork. And then the basic level certification is on top of that. And then the gym is what gives you the actual experience of doing the thing. Okay, so the certification courses are just really about passing the certification test. But that's really just about the certification test. But the QBO gym is really what gets you the experience using it. It's a simulated environment so that you are actually doing the bookkeeping for a client, for a fictitious business owner for an entire year. Okay, so that's going to give you the breadth of experience that you really need. And it comes with marketing prompts, and it comes with Booksmatch so that we can show you off to the world and you can get leads. So yeah, so the gym, and then of course there's advanced and cleanup, but you asked about where to get started, and the answer is basic. Okay, alrighty, so let's see what else. What does that offer that I can't get from Intuit CBO or QBO cert training via QBOA? Oh, excellent question. So, and people are heading off. Yes, take off. We're done. I'm just answering questions. I'll stay on as long as I need to, but have a great weekend. For those of you who are leaving, I will see you on Monday for Mindset Monday. And make sure you like my new ads with this hair today. And every time you see an ad with this hair, you'll know that I filmed it today. Anyway, so Paul wants to know, what does that offer, and you're talking about our Fast and Easy QBO course, offer from Intuit's QBO cert training via QBOA? So you can absolutely go into your QBOA account, take their training, take their certification. People have done that. I did that. That's definitely a doable thing. Okay. What we found is that people have a hard time with Intuit's training for a lot of reasons. I struggled with it because I am not a good reader. I don't have a learning disability, but I have a brain disorder called aphantasia, which means that I cannot form mental pictures in my head. And so learning, especially software, from what is really just an online textbook requires you to like imagine it in your head, and I can't do that. And so I really struggled. So and so the Intuit training is all reading. It's like basically reading a textbook. And so our training, the reason that we created the Fast and Easy version is because I found that so many people were struggling with that training. Some of them because, like me, they aren't good readers. Some of them because they have test anxiety. Somewhat because the Intuit, the test, you have a hard time matching up what they're asking on the test to what they offer in the training. So our Fast and Easy QBO training, what sets us apart is number one, it's video based. So you're listening to it, you're not just reading it. So it's video based. It includes reinforcement exercises. So you hear the information, you watch me do it on the screen, and then there are exercises that help you reinforce the concepts that I just talked about. The reinforcement exercises include drag and drop, crossword puzzle, that type of thing. So it's very interactive that way. It's also in our gamified platform. So there's dings and whistles and ta-das and stuff that you earn that way. It includes hands-on practice exercises. So you're not just learning about the features, you're actually doing them like we did today. And it includes practice quizzes, which are based on the actual exam questions. Okay, so we're going to teach you in the way that you have to actually know the information for the test. So it includes practice quizzes. It includes quick notes. This is what most people say is their favorite part, is basically the Cliff Note version of the material that's in Intuit's training, so that you have an easy reference. One of the hard parts about taking the test and using the Intuit material is that, and by the way, the test is open book, so you're free to like go through the material and and do it, but their material is not searchable. And as you saw today, like you can't even sometimes like click through the different sections. So finding the answers in the Intuit training material is challenging. So the quick notes, the videos, the reinforcement exercises, the hands-on practice exercises, actually learning the thing in the QuickBooks Online. And of course, it's much faster, it's much easier. The basic level certification, you can get through the course in about 5 hours. That doesn't include test taking time, but you can get through in about 5 hours, so you can get your certification in a weekend. Whereas people who study via the Intuit training, it can take months. I mean, just recently we had somebody say that they had been working on it for 3 months, I think she said, and was struggling. People take the test, they fail sections. The other thing is that we have a money-back guarantee, so that if you fail the test 3 times using our training materials, we give you your money back. So, long-winded answer to why we are so much better than the free training. So, but a lot of people, they don't have the funds to buy training, and I get that. So a lot of people can do they can do it for free. I mean, it's there. It's in their best interest. Like Intuit wants pro advisors. They want people to know their software. So they're going to give you as much training as possible, but they're also not a training company. Like I am a trainer, and so I train. My job is to help you actually know the information, not just, present it. It's the difference between learning from a teacher and learning from a textbook. Okay, let's see. Let's see what else. Maria. Oh, I keep forgetting. Okay, Maria says, I was randomly here and these were selling like Girl Scout cookies in your Mindset series. I received tons of information. I don't know exactly what that's saying, but yay, great. So if you're new, I do a mindset call every Monday, and I did a special mindset series in May that was recorded, so you can watch that. Or now what I typically do is just randomly on Monday, I hop on and give some kind of mindset nugget. So Paul says, Paul's the same one that I was answering that big long question. I like the hands-on training via QBO Gym. That's awesome. That's a great start. That is a great way. Okay. And Paul says, I've heard the exam questions can be tricky even if you know how to get a task accomplished. Yes. Yes. You have to understand how they are asking the question. So that's another thing we do. Candace says, I've taken Margie's courses and I've never missed a single point on any test when I studied with her. Dang, Candace, that's amazing. Not everybody can say that. And yeah, I'm kind of glad that not everybody gets 100% on every course, because that would kind of feel like cheating. That would be like, I'm giving you the answers and my job is not to give you the answers, but to make sure that you know the answers deeply. But yeah. So, all right, I think I have come to the end of the chat. 10 minutes after 1 o'clock, I have come to the end of the chat, and I can't believe there's still 28 of you hanging on still. So that's amazing. I don't know why you guys hang on when it's at 2 hours long. But anyway, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you on Monday for our Mindset Monday. Have a fabulous weekend. I can't wait to hear your success story.